So here we're looking at round 4. Round 4 is interesting because what we see now is last 2 rounds, a lot of teams have been down for patching. Now we get the opportunity to kind of take a look and see how their patches are performing. And one area I'm particularly interested in is the challenges that were already being scored against. So Rubius was throwing a POV against everyone on Thermal Controller 2, and Xandra was throwing a POV against everyone on the SQL Slammer.
But we're seeing more patches, so a lot less successful POVs at this point. The other thing is interesting is that we're seeing a lot more teams, even though Xandra was certainly first there on the Slammer, we're now seeing a number of other teams also succeeding. So Rubius is patching, but they're also still throwing POVs over there. So they've got their down for patching and also still scoring. So now that's actually a good thing to talk about, because when you're down for patching, you're not scoring points, right? You can't get any points for that service. So is there any value to doing that? Is that a bad idea?
There's a small amount of value, and what we can see is the teams they scored against. Let's see here. Rubius scored on the yellow team, Jima, and then they scored on the blue team, Galactica. So what we see when we look at Jima and Galactica's hex tiles is that they don't have that white border around them. So that white border is indicating that a team is still protected.
Their security score is
security score is still the maximum. So their Jima and Galactica, they both lost points on security for that challenge. So Rubius didn't get any points out of it, but they were able to still somewhat harm their opponents.
A little bit. Now, in a perfect world, you do both. And of course, it does mean that they were leaking the capability. Although in this case, a number of teams are also throwing the same POV, or at least throwing successful POVs against the same service. So it's probably not like it's a secret. But there's certainly kind of this element of how much do you keep secret, and are you revealing a capability by using it against other teams? Although at this point, clearly the cat is out of the bag.
Definitely strategy is an important part of any CTF game. But we do remember that SQL Slammer, that was that really easy bug.
Yeah, so we're not surprised in that sense.
We're not surprised the other teams are finding it, but it is pretty cool that some of the teams have patched it.
We also still see that only Rubius and Xandra are deploying their IDS rules along with their patches, and everyone else is just patching the binaries.
So let's take a look here in round 5.
And so we're just looking at all the POVs, right? Like we have views that we've shown before with this that have lots and lots of polls that kind of clutters up, makes it hard to see. But we're just looking at POVs. I want to remind folks that that's what we're looking at. We're not seeing polls.
Yeah, each cone being thrown in the arena here is one POV, and we don't visualize any of the polls because it was just absolutely too cluttered that way.
Although it did have the only advantage of that was it showed how complicated the game was, how much was going on, but it was just useless to learn about the game by watching.
Yeah, if you saw any of those games from the actual CGC broadcast, go back and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's very cool. But yeah, some of those views are overwhelming. What's really exciting here, and I don't know if you notice it right off the bat, but Jima has scored against network file system. Now, this is exciting because at this point in the game, every single CRS has thrown a successful POV against someone. That means every single one of these machines is actually playing the game, and that's huge.
And it's in the first 30 minutes. We're around 5 minutes around. Of course, we hit around 0, so it's 30 minutes into the game, and every team has shown signs of life and putting up a fight.
Yeah, everyone can take a big, deep sigh of relief at this point. Nobody is sitting out there wondering, is it going to actually run? Is it going to fall on its face?
Are we going to have a 0 score? We're never going to do anything.
And we know that the infrastructure is running on the back end, right? So this is a great moment for everyone. So Jima is actually interesting. Jima was written by CSDS, which is actually a 2-person team. It just absolutely blows my mind. 2 people, and everything that they did was written from scratch.
We decided we would start from scratch, or I decided I would start from scratch, and then Cindy started doing the same thing with the vulnerability, so that we could be specifically geared towards this challenge.
Yeah, 2-person, and not only 2 people, the smallest team in the competition, they came in as computer scientists, as certainly very, very clearly very capable, intelligent people, and I think approached it from a lot of these sort of first principles, and even in some instances didn't read the research because there's only so much time between either building up something of your own or reading research or adapting existing tools, and so it took a really interesting tact of trying to kind of recreate a lot of the technologies from sort of just understanding the basics of what they needed to achieve.